What's the quickest and bestest way to start healing in Season 2? How about with the current strongest healer that also happens to be one of the easiest to pick up? Restoration Shaman is here to get you to where you need to go. This season is all about Farseer, summoning your ghosts to copy your spells, whether it is to save your party or kill your enemies. In dungeons, you will be using this build. The main focus of this is spreading Riptides on everybody and using Chain Heal to consume them and heal for more while building buffs to cast these faster and stronger. The raid build is similar, with more emphasis on spreading even more Riptides and using Healing Wave to cleave onto your friends for a massive mana-free playstyle. It's incredibly simple and forgiving because even I could do it. If you want to use Resto for open world and delves, this build simplifies it even more and snags as much damage as it can out of all of your options. Less ramp, fewer combos, so you can get in and get out without too much fuss. The builds are linked in the description and you can copy the import codes and pass them into the game. Quick and easy, no BS. Also, you will find the Wowhead link to Theon's Restoration Shaman guide that holds all of the information from our video and a lot more. We will simplify a lot of that for you so you can start playing right away, but if you want to get more advanced, super recommend giving the guide a read as well. I'll explain everything you want to know about Restoration Shaman as soon as I thank our patrons for sponsoring this video. Our guides are a product of their support since they are some of our worst performing videos on YouTube, but if you want to help us make more of these as well as getting early access to a bunch of videos, consider going to patreon.com/Marcelian&Flame and becoming a part of our Patreon team. It really helps us make more and more videos that hopefully you find useful. Restoration Shaman doesn't have any hidden passives or synergies. Your heals just fill health bars. Simple as that. Your basic heal is Healing Surge, a fast and powerful heal that burns through a bit of your mana. Healing Wave, a slightly stronger but way slower heal that is significantly cheaper to cast. And Chain Heal, your most expensive heal, just as slow to cast as Healing Wave, but jumps to 4 allies. It heals less than the other 2 per target, but has a bunch of empowerments that, if cast at the right time, it will keep groups of people alive, no problem. Lastly, you have Riptide. Riptide is a heal over time, instant to cast, incredibly cheap on mana, and the engine behind your bigger heals. I lied when I said there are no synergies. There aren't in the sense that each spell can heal on its own, but using Riptide for instance makes Healing Wave and Chain Heal faster to cast, and Healing Surge have a higher crit chance to heal. It activates AoE healing with Healing Wave in the raid build and can proc your major healing cooldowns once you cast it often enough. In dungeons, it makes Chain Heal do 30% more healing if cast on a friendly target affected by Riptide, consuming it in the process. With these builds, it's likely your most important spell to cast is Riptide. The healer rotation is incredibly simple since you have a set of conditions and the rest is you reacting to what's happening in your raid or party. In raids, as a Farseer, you want to keep Ancestral Swiftness on cooldown as well as Riptide, as mentioned before. Do not overcap your charges of Cloudburst Totem. When you need to heal, cast a Healing Wave, ideally on a target with Riptide to increase the Healing Wave output, which will increase the cleave heal it will do from your talents. Or simply cast it on the target of your Earth Shield, which you want to always keep up on your target when there is nothing more pressing to do. If the situation gets dicey, emergency healing surges can be okay, but note that you lose out on a lot of power from your build since the synergies are with Healing Wave and not Surge. In dungeons, you'll be playing with more Chain Heals. The most important thing to do is still to keep Ancestral Swiftness on cooldown, but also to refresh your Riptides since Chain Heals consume them. Cast Chain Heals if 3 or more friends need healing and you have the High Tide buff. Otherwise, use Healing Surge, which will also apply Flame Shock if you have the Master of the Elements buff. The buff is attained when you use Lava Bursts, which you should. You want to keep Riptide from capping on charges, and the same goes with Cloudburst Totem. Keep Earth Shield on you and the target you think will most benefit from it, usually the tank. With a dungeon build, you don't need to refresh this as often since it doesn't have charges anymore, but still has 1 hour duration. And lastly, of course, make sure that Unleash Life is also cast on cooldown as much as possible, since it will align with every other Ancestral Swiftness, banking your Ancestral Ghosts together for bigger damage or bigger heals. These simple rules should keep your healing efficient, while the rest is up to your cooldown usage as a healer. I can tell you what they do and how you would like to use them, but it's better if you also practice them yourself and draw your own conclusions based on your experience, party composition, and in-game situation. Your biggest healing cooldown is Ascendant, and you get it by pressing it or proccing it the RNG style when casting Riptides. During this time, your healing is duplicated at 70% effectiveness and spreads evenly to your allies around you. It's good in all situations, no matter what happens. Not much to overthink here. Spirit Link, however, is maybe stronger and more iconic, but doesn't really create health points past its tiny little proc when you cast it. It does give 15% damage reduction to people inside of it and redistributes the health evenly. Of course, healing in it becomes the most efficient healing in the game, since as long as somebody is not full health, everybody eats up your heals, making nothing go to waste. It 110% saves people if they could just get in it. God, green circle means sanctuary. Sorry. I may have had people die because they just didn't care about going into the circle. That still haunts me. The last big healing cooldown is Healing Tide. This is usually a good raid defensive since the heals are small but consistent and also hits everybody. What you really want from it is the talent that makes the next 3 healing surges after you enabled your totem to be instant and 50% cheaper. You have plenty of time to cast these 3 surges, and optimizing your Master of the Elements for each one can give you a lot of power in emergency situations when you really need to solve a problem quick with one button. Past this, you have 3 more smaller healing cooldowns. Cloudburst is maybe the most counterintuitive, which says a lot about how simple Resto Shaman is, since reading the tooltip for this should be enough for most people. What players do, myself included, is overthink this too much. Simply have it up when you need to do a bunch of healing. What Cloudburst Totem does is stores 20% of your healing in it, and then when it expires or you recast it again, it explodes all of that healing onto everybody more or less evenly. So if you forget to activate it and it expires on its own anyway, and everyone is already full health, likely you already prevented the situation, so it's fine. A better safe than sorry case, if you will. Don't worry too much if it went to waste. But if you forgot about it and it activates and shit is already hitting the fan, chances are the healing it stored and splashes onto everybody will be a very happy surprise to you and your friends. Of course, activating it manually when it has enough healing in it and people can use it is the best situation. The other 2 cooldowns are Ancestral Swiftness and Unleash Life, the latter being only in the dungeon build. These 2 spawn an ancestor which replicates your heals. Swiftness makes your next heal instant to cast, while Unleash Life makes it stronger. I love Resto Shaman and it is my go-to healer this patch. I play it live on twitch.tv/Marcelian&Flame. Come and catch me healing viewers in dungeons and raids and ask any questions you want. If we cannot find the answer together, I will eat an onion. Don't forget, you are a shaman with a lot of totems, stun totems, move speed totems, slow totems, and so on. We didn't include stuff like poison cleansing totems since you only really need it in Arakara, but if you do go there, it can save you an incredible headache. You can forego Purge or a Capacitor Totem talent node for it and pop it during the first pulls, last boss, or whenever someone misses a kick on the poison spiders. Pretty obvious, but your Earth Elemental can be a lifesaver, especially in small to medium keys. It can take some heat off of your tank or simply give you some tankiness through its health increase that it provides. One thing that is easily forgotten about is your Interrupt. You have the best interrupt in the game, not only in its short cooldown, but with the Season Winds talent makes it so when you interrupt a spell, you take 15% less damage from that magic type for 18 seconds. And it stacks twice for a 30% damage reduction. This can be huge, mostly in dungeons, but a big incentive to interrupt as much as you can. The last thing I will tell you is dealing damage as Farseer. Healer damage is low, so don't get your hopes up too much. But if your party is reasonably healthy and your Ancestral Swiftness and Unleash Life come off cooldown at the same time, which they should, always, then you can use both quick and have at least 2 ancestors with you. Then you start spamming Chain Lightning as much as you can, of course in AoE situations. Firing Lava Bursts when possible is always ideal since that will be the source of your Master of the Elements buff, but past this, not much else you can do. But have the right trinket procs, bloodlust, people playing safe, and you can reliably get pretty close to the tank in damage output, and depending on their skill, even surpass them. It's a neat thing and will definitely get you noticed. But never do damage in the detriment of healing. No minuscule damage output from a healer is worth DPS players dying, you dying, or even a big defensive being used because you were too slow to heal something totally manageable. When you gear, there are some better items and some worse, of course, but to keep it simple, aim for the highest item level, or at least the highest intellect value on an item, first and foremost. After this, you want haste, a lot of it, and critical strike. Versatility and mastery are last on the list. Farseer excels at spamming very cheap and efficient heals, and when not necessary, shooting your lava bursts and lightning spells faster contributes to the damage few healers can do. As with many tier sets, the Farseer one is very passive, but not less impactful. Your 2-piece makes you summon one more ancestor with ancestral swiftness and lasts 15 seconds baseline and empowered by 10%. Your 4-set will make swiftness addition to give you 25% damage and healing and mana cost reduction, while also recharging your Riptides 50% faster over a period of 8 seconds. That's why haste is so important, because in this 8-second window, you are essentially a god of healing. This just scratches the surface of Resto Shaman, but it will get you into a raid and some plus 10 keys. For more knowledge and advanced tips, once again, check Theon's guide on Wowhead and even go to the Earthshrine Discord where the top shamans in the world hang out and answer questions about stuff we didn't include in this video. Links to both in the description. And I also mentioned kicking poison casts and other spells as a Resto Shaman, and sometimes that can be hard to do in hectic situations. Fortunately, in this video, Marcelian teaches you how to use your player profile that color codes mobs and casts based on their importance so that your super duper fast shaman interrupt never goes to waste.